What is it like being a Jamaican in New Zealand? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com. Today in Jamaicans to the World, we talk to Johnnel Smith, who is a Jamaican living in New Zealand. Welcome, Johnnel. How are you?
Hi, Xavier. Kia kora totua from Aotearoa, New Zealand. It is an absolute privilege and pleasure being here with you. Thank you so much for having me on your program.
I love that you have the flag there representing Jamaica. And,
ever.
and for the folks who don't know and may even recognize Johnnel, Johnnel is a former Miss Jamaica Festival Queen. Yes. I think you were also Miss Mandeville or something like that.
Miss Manchester, yes.
Miss Manchester. Okay.
Yes, Manchester.
So always representing. So you're from Manchester.
Yes, I'm from the most enchanted parish in Jamaica, which is Manchester. I was born and raised in Mandeville. Most people think I'm from Kingston, but no, I'm from cool Mandeville.
So then the cool that you experience, because I think you're at the side of New Zealand that is close to Antarctica.
It is the coldest, one of the coldest parts of New Zealand. No, Xavier, is a different kind of cold. It's a different kind of temperature here. I don't think I was properly prepared for the weather here in New Zealand. But, you know, actually, I think I'm acclimatizing, they say. So it's not so bad as when I just started. You know, when I just arrived, I was really reconsidering my decision and saying, yeah, you know, what's that ticket back home again? You know, let's see how far we can take this. But I think I'm acclimatizing, and yes, I am on one of the last spots before Antarctica. That's how close, that's how far down I am. So a lot of people, when they hear New Zealand, they think of one country. But actually, New Zealand is divided into two islands. So there's the North Island and the South Island. The North Island has popular cities like Auckland and the capital, Wellington. And I'm down on the South Island, which has Christchurch, which unfortunately had the attacks probably a year ago, terrorist attack a year ago. I'm in a place called Dunedin, which is about 4 hours from Christchurch and 3 hours from the adventure capital of the world, which is Queenstown. So it's a good place to be on the South Island.
Okay. So have you thought about, you know, I don't know how close it is, but have you thought about a trip to Antarctica?
Actually, yes, because Antarctica, though cold, very beautiful. So from what I've seen, and I have a lot of friends who are from Antarctica and they've lived in Antarctica and they've always encouraged me to visit. So I was like, I'll come in the summertime for Antarctica, you know, maybe not now. But yeah, and even their summer is still going to be everybody else's winter, but it is very beautiful. It is.
Good, good. So what do you like about New Zealand?
Oh wow. New Zealand for me is really a beautiful country to live in. It is absolutely fantastic. So my number one favorite thing about New Zealand would have to be the great outdoors. It is just fantastic. There's a reason why so many movies are filmed in New Zealand, like Lord of the Rings, Hobbiton, even Mulan was filmed in New Zealand because of the picturesque beauty of the country. You drive out and you see these ice-capped mountains, you see these lakes, these cascading waterfalls, and it's very natural and pristine, very untouched. And I think that is what makes it so beautiful. You know, it's unbelievable sometimes when I'm driving and I look out and it's as if, is this a real place? It looks like a painting, you know? So even when I take pictures sometimes like on my Instagram or, you know, on my Facebook, and I look at even how the cloud is. It's really beautiful, you know. So that's why this from the sea to sky, it's just absolutely breathtaking. You know, you're driving and you're like, wow, yeah, the wildlife is wonderful.
Yes, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan.
So oh, good. So you understand.
So I totally understand and get it, and it's one of these places that's on my list because of the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's, you know, the thing about even with that, you'd think that it's a movie and it's fake. No, the background is real. The backdrop is actually real, and so that's why many films are shot here. And it's the great outdoors. As I said, it's pretty, especially on the South Island. It's quite it's not very populated. So when you're driving out, it's just these large spaces of empty land, and you're just looking and you're just driving and you're just awe of it. It's really good. So number one would definitely be the scenery that we have here, the outdoors. Yeah, how natural it is. I love it.
What's the thing you like the least? I think you're going to lean to the cold, but I'll let you answer.
Have to. The weather, yes, the weather is one of those things that I would say I like the least about New Zealand, because it does affect your ability to enjoy the great outdoors, as I said before. So it's when they say you have 4 seasons in a day, that's a typical saying here in New Zealand. You have 4 seasons in a day. It is not a joke. Literally, you're walking. I would even say 4 seasons in 5 minutes. It's possible. I've seen it gone from snowing to wind to warm sunshine to spring. I've seen that in 5 minutes. I've seen that in 5 minutes, and it's just unbelievable.
Amazing. Yes. Local customs. Tell us about some of the local customs. Maybe 1 or 2 of the local customs that when you got there, like, this is interesting.
Wow. In New Zealand, it has a great respect and integration of the indigenous culture, which is the Maori people. So when I began, I greeted you in Maori, which is kia ora katoa, and even the name New Zealand is Eteroa, which is the Maori name for New Zealand, and it means the land of the long white cloud. So what I love about New Zealand is the integration of the indigenous people. They have very wonderful respect and kind of a veneration of the Maori people here. And so with the Maori, there's a lot of culture and traditions that come along with it, the respect for the land and the nature, the ancestors, and as well as the tattoos. A lot of the tribal tattoos, you'll see them tattoo their entire bodies, you know, even on the face, the eyes, over the mouth. I remember when I just arrived at the airport and I was picking up my luggage off the conveyor belt, and this guy was next to me, and he was Maori, and he had the tattoo, like his entire face was tattooed. And I kind of just, I was so surprised when I saw him. I was like, you know, because I knew I should expect that because I did my research before coming here. But when I actually saw it in person, it was like, you know, but then afterwards, when you see it a few more times, it becomes typical, it becomes the norm. So the traditions are really good. And in general, Kiwis, that's what we call New Zealanders, you know, so the long name is New Zealanders, but everybody call themselves Kiwis. They're really very nice and friendly people. So the custom and tradition, they're nice, they're friendly, they're outgoing and adventurous. And I guess that's why Queenstown, which is a couple hours from me, is the adventure capital of the world, because they generally like adventure. They like being outdoors, and they're very compliant and humble people. I mean, Jacinda Ardern, she came to visit us yesterday. That's the Prime Minister for New Zealand. Such a humble, you know, lady. And even how we dealt with COVID-19 is something that the world over was looking at New Zealand and appreciated, because generally Kiwis are very compliant people. They will do what is necessary in order to get back to as much normalcy as possible, because they love being outdoors. So I think we handled COVID very well, and the traditions are lovely.
Good. you are a student in New Zealand, or are you working or doing both? Student and working.
Doing both. You know, Jamaicans are hustlers. It's natural born hustlers. So we can't just do one thing. We have to be in everything. So for me, I'm a PhD candidate here. I'm a PhD scholar. So that is how I actually came here. And for me, I also lecture. I also teach. So yeah, I have been doing both for a while, and other jobs. So yes, it's been pretty cool. Yeah.
Was it difficult getting a visa, student visa, work permit, all of that stuff when you made the decision to go to New Zealand?
It wasn't very difficult. The process was a little tedious, more tedious than others, because New Zealand, and understandably so, has very strict border control and regulations, because the environment is so beautiful and captivating. You know, they're very strict about who they let into the country, but also what they let into the country. So even the process of getting here was more rigorous than other countries, because I've been to several other countries, and New Zealand was the most rigorous for me in terms of having to do the typical full health check and blood check and police record check, but as well as the process for matriculation into a New Zealand university is extremely competitive, because you're competing with so many people who would love to come here. So even as a Jamaican, there are not many Jamaicans coming this side at all. And so even getting information about coming to New Zealand was a little bit difficult. So that, I would say, was the most challenging part of it. And just the general paperwork and bureaucracy, I guess, to come here. But getting a wasn't difficult. Once you have a bona fide reason coming, it's really not that difficult. Yes.
Okay. And I know you are starting up a YouTube channel, and maybe even by the time this has broadcast, we should be looking out for Johnnel's YouTube channel, where she's going to be talking to some of the students there and the folks there, and kind of helping us know more about New Zealand.
Yes, You're right, Xavier. Thanks for that plug, by the way. I am going to be starting up a YouTube channel, and it really is about sharing information, because as I said before, when I was coming here, I didn't have that much information about what it was like to transition, especially from a Caribbean island to New Zealand, because there's not many. I'm the only Jamaican in this part of the world, and there are more Jamaicans up north in Auckland, and I know of a few in Wellington, and there's one in Christchurch, but she left, I think, 25 years ago. So in terms of like recently coming from Jamaica, I'm the only one. And so it was a little bit more challenging. There's some things that I wish I knew then that I know now. And so the YouTube channel is about sharing that information, not just for me as a Jamaican, but I'm surrounded by over 35 different nationalities. My friends are from many different countries, and they all got here. So I'll be interviewing them to share information with others who wish to come to New Zealand about the processes.
Great. So on the topic of being a Jamaican there in New Zealand, tell us one of these stories where it could be if someone from New Zealand, what do they call them now?
Kiwis.
Yeah, Kiwis.
Yes.
It could be a Kiwi, or it could be someone else realize you're Jamaican, and what happens, because it opens the doors to a lot of stuff when somebody finds out you're Jamaican. Tell us about one of those experiences.
Yes, it has been very interesting, especially when you're the only one in this side of the world. People have a fascination with where you come from. And so even before I got here, people knew a Jamaican was coming because it was advertised, apparently. So I did not know that.
Advertised? What do you mean by advertised? Jamaican is coming?
Yes, I'm living on a residential college, which is on close to the campus. So it's owned and operated by the the university. So whenever a new resident is coming, there's a blurb about where they're coming from, what they're coming to do, that sort of thing. So even separate and apart from the blurb that was sent out about me before, the administrator actually told a lot of residents that, oh, you know, a Jamaican is coming, a Jamaican is coming. And so by the time I got here, everybody was like, oh yeah, we've been waiting for you. So that was quite interesting. And just a few examples of, you know, funny Jamaican moments. I think the most profound experience I've had since I've been here was I got quite, because of the climate and the weather, I got quite sick. I think earlier this year, probably around January, February. I had flu-like symptoms, but it was a different kind of flu. You know, when you get into a new environment, you know, your body's still adjusting. And so I knew how my normal flu-like symptoms would be, but this one was a little bit more severe. And at the time, COVID-19 had just started to spread to different countries. So because, you know, of all the traveling and visitors coming in, I actually thought it was COVID because it had some of the symptoms of COVID. So I remember my friends taking me to the hospital. They're like, okay, let's just check it out just in case we're not quite sure, you know, just check it out, check the symptoms. And I was in the emergency room actually, and, you know, just really feeling very restricted in terms of my breathing. And I had a raging fever and everything, you know. And the nurse, you know, had a lot of other persons with similar symptoms. It fortunately turned out not to be COVID-19. But while she was taking my details, you know, my friends were giving her the information, and her head was down the whole time. Okay, what's her name? Has she traveled recently? You know, how long has she been in New Zealand? And the last question was, where is she from? And then I couldn't say anything at the time, but my friend said Jamaica. And the nurse lifted her head up, whipped it around and looked at me and started laughing in the middle of the emergency room. And I'm like, I'm sick, lady, like, you know, help me out. And she just couldn't stop smiling. She was like, you know, just looking at me, and just a bright face, and her eyes just became radiant because she's never seen a Jamaican before. And, you know, even the whole time, I honestly got VIP treatment from, I told her that I was Jamaican. From there, she just couldn't stop smiling and laughing, even in the middle of an emergency. I think that is the most profound thing, you know. And that is who we are as Jamaicans. When people hear about us, they think about happy people. They think about this vibrancy and energy of our people. And so when we go into places, even before they get to know us individually, they have happy thoughts. They have positive thoughts about us. And I think that's really incredible.
That is an amazing story. VIP treatment in the emergency room. She didn't find ackee and saltfish for you though.
No. She didn't get that at the moment, but she was, you know, she was just in adoration and awe, because especially down this side, as I said, I'm the only one. So right. You know, in her mind, she was thinking about all the happiness. And I do get asked about Bob Marley a lot, and Usain Bolt, and of course I get asked occasionally for weed. Everybody thinks I just walk around with weed. So you know, people are like, oh, you don't have any weed? I'm like, no, I don't. They're like, but you're Jamaican. I'm like, no, we don't actually do that. Not all of us do that, you know. So
yeah, cool. It's one of them stereotypes that just will never die.
It will never die.
But on food, what is the food like? Is there a particular food that they serve there in New Zealand that you say, you know, I really enjoy this? What's, you know, give us an idea of the food there.
I think the New Zealand cuisine is my least favorite thing about New Zealand. And I know my Kiwi friends are going to be like, what? How could you say that? But the Kiwi food is sometimes, you know, it can be very bland in taste, you know, not very well seasoned. And, you know, in Jamaica, we like with pepper, and we like whole heap of seasoning, and we love, you know, where the thing, you know, the fridge and marinate, and, you know, we like that. We like a lot of things in our food, and it's not the same here in New Zealand. They do have the Fresh burger, which is pretty popular, and you can actually get that in Queenstown, and it's a delicious burger. So I would say definitely that would be my absolute favorite. of all the foods here, but it's really not my favorite part about New Zealand. I miss the Jamaican food. I do.
What do you miss? What Jamaican food you miss?
You know, I love jerk chicken. I've always loved jerk chicken. I've always been a person to go to Scotchies. I've always been, you know, seeking out my pan chicken man on the roadside. I had a favorite pan chicken man on Old Hope Road in Kingston. Every Friday, I know that I'm coming to buy my jerk chicken and my jerk pork and the jerk chicken neck with sweet. Of course. So I'm a true Jamaican, and especially at Christmas time, I miss the food a lot. I miss sorrel. I miss Jamaican Christmas cake, even though I can get it over here. There's a difference. There's a difference when your family makes it for you, you know, versus when you buy it, you know, from a manufacturer. There's a real difference to it, you know. I don't know if it's love that's the extra ingredient, but we do something when we make it at home. That's very different. So I miss, especially at Christmas time, the traditional Jamaican Christmas food, jerk chicken, and just the variety that we had, and especially patty.
Yes.
We love patty. So yeah, I miss that.
Folks who are watching, you know, Johnnel wants her jerk chicken neck, and her patty, some sorrel. Yeah. So look for her when she gets her YouTube channel. You know to reach her, and you know, package it. Next day shipping. Amazon probably gets it there in an hour.
in an hour. And don't forget the soursop juice, please. Soursop juice. Yes.
Any words of advice for anyone who is thinking and you know of coming to New Zealand to work, to study? Any words of advice?
Oh, wow. And actually, that's one of the reasons I'm going to be doing the YouTube channel, because there's so many things that I would want to mention, and I probably can't even get into the details in this interview. But in general, I think a lot of persons are a little fearful about going into parts of the world that there are not many Jamaicans. You know, when we think about migrating in Jamaica, we often go to the dynamic 2 or 3. So we think about the US, Canada, or the UK, and it's usually in England, you know, London. We think about those places, but the world is so much bigger. And that is why I really, you know, want to congratulate you on this platform, Xavier, that you have started by featuring Jamaicans around the world, to let other Jamaicans back home know that it is possible to go into places and take up spaces that we've never done before. And in addition to really celebrating the Jamaican culture and spreading that overseas, or, you know, to persons we're close to, we're also offering a new narrative of Jamaicans, so that we're not just this one weed smoking Rastafarian who loves to say Ariman and listen to Bob Marley. There's so many different facets of us. You know, I will never forget that I'm a lecturer by profession. I actually lectured at UE and decided to do my PhD overseas, and that's how, you know, I actually got here. And I will never forget, I was doing this presentation, and one person from the audience came up to me and she's like, Jamaica, I love Jamaican, but I just never imagined that a university, that you said you're a lecturer. She's like, Jamaicans have universities? Like, there's a university in Jamaica? And I was like, yeah, there's several universities in Jamaica, actually, you know, but that is just how important it is for us to be diverse and to show people the level of our diversity, you know, by really going out there in different facets and corners of the world to really show our culture and who we are as a people and how in-depth and diverse we are.
Wow, I love that. I love it. What a perspective, you know, Jamaica to the world. What a perspective. Wrapping up here. So is there a goodbye? I know they speak English, but it sounds like there are some other like dialects, or you mentioned it, you know, you kind of went into some of it earlier. So in closing, how would you know, say goodbye? Kind of like New Zealand style.
Yeah, it's still Kia ora. So it is two words, Kia Ora, but it's pronounced Kiora. So that's really, you know, the goodbye message, and of course is coming from Maori tradition and Maori language here in New Zealand. So it is an absolute pleasure to be here to represent Jamaica here. And again, I want to thank you for this platform of showcasing Jamaicans to the world, you know, and I want to encourage all Jamaicans to reach out far and wide wherever you are. You can, if you have an interest in studying in New Zealand or living in New Zealand, you can message me as well. Reach out, you know, let's be a bridge for each other. And also, you know, I really just want to again commend you on this wonderful work that you're doing to feature our people all over the world. You know, don't be afraid, Jamaicans. Go out there. Even if there's no Jamaican there, you can be the first and represent us in true and fine style. Definitely.
Johnnel, thank you for sharing your story with us. We know we have someone there in New Zealand, so folks, reach out to her. Thank you, and let me make sure I said this right now. So bye-bye is Kihora?
Kiora, yes.
Kiora.
Kiora.
Yes. All right, Johnnel, Kiora.
Kiora, Xavier, thanks again. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.